Hello, my name is Mordred Viking, and I'd like to welcome you to the continuation of this stream, where I am joined by Jibbly.
Welcome. We are also joined by
Zlevik. Hello there.
Hello, Zloic. So I believe that you're here to announce a couple of things, perhaps?
Yes, there's a lot of things happening today for Dutch nation. Like, of course, you formed the Netherlands. That's just at the beginning. You probably did see that we had a lot of fights in the British Isles to get the control of it. There was Desmond, there was Scotland, helped by France. We managed to win that with a lot of struggle, but we did win that. And now, once we formed the Netherlands, next thing that obviously we should do is what we should form next.
Scotland.
Scotland, maybe. Maybe Great
there
Britain.
There we go.
Yes, the British nation's here. It's gonna rule the waves, of course, with the British ideas. Oh, I did hear that. By the way, one good thing that we and Westphalia did like half an hour ago, we did break the Golden Alliance. Because there was this whole war of like 6 nations against Livonia, and they're dying pretty much in this war. 6v1. Livonia's winning that easily. So us and Westphalia were thinking like, okay, that doesn't look too good. We don't like gangs. We have bad experience with gangs. Why don't we form something better than the Golden Alliance? And that's why right now it's us, it's Westphalia, Livonia, and Provence. We formed a new, better alliance than the Golden Alliance. One thing that you can take a look at as well, if you go on your outliner, you'll see that Great Britain started an early industrialization. If you take it on the buildings, you need to go. Yes, we've been there's probably like 20 manufacturers. Took a few loans for that, but we have enough money. Yeah.
Only 8,000.
Yeah.
It's pocket change. You'll pay that off in a month.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Yeah, that's going to really boost your economy.
Yeah, but I still think Livonia is far stronger than us, and that's why we allied. Because if someone is far strong, it's better to be on his side than against him.
Yeah, you guys are really actually quite a scary grouping now. So you've got Livonia for the land wars, then you and Gotland for the naval stuff. Like, I don't think anyone can even come close to rivaling you two at sea now.
Yeah, unless someone takes naval ideas. But we also, like, if that happens, we're going to also take naval ideas, just in case.
Yeah, great power, number 1. Right behind you, Serbia.
Yeah. And I said question about turning Anglican. Yeah, we're waiting for the event. So Reformation just started like 5 years ago or something. So we're waiting for the Anglican to spawn now.
What's your plans with Gotland?
We do have an alliance, meaning that they do not raid us. So that's good for us. And in exchange, we promised not to touch the New World.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we stay in Europe.
You still have so much trade flowing to you, though. So.
Yeah, so that's actually profitable for us because they bring in trade and we're getting more money.
I messed up these map modes. Oh, that's horrible. I'll sort that out later. It's
that's
fine.
the worst when you take over the map modes from someone.
Yeah, and they're just wrong, Christo. They're just wrong. So, no movement in America then. So I'm guessing you're going to try to consolidate more of France. Have you done any deals with Provence?
Yes, Provence is actually our closest ally together with Westphalia. We are allied since day one.
Oh, yes. So yeah.
They actually helped us a lot in the war in the British Isles because, Scotland is this trick that when we declared on England, they vassalized England and called France against us.
Right.
So Provence actually did almost die helping us over there. So, in exchange right now, they're pretty much getting whole France. We're only taking the English Channel.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. That's what I was looking for, was the trade map mode. So you can see roughly what the borders will look like from this.
Yeah, we just need 3 more provinces from it.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Do you guys have any designs with Papal States, Kingdom of God? What do you think is going to happen with them?
That's funny stuff. I don't think we did any Diplo for game. We're just far away from each other.
Well, not so much anymore if you're allied to Provence.
Yeah, but Provence is in good relations with Pope. So that's why it's not something that we care about.
Okay.
So who do you see as the biggest threats at the moment?
No one. No, we just want to sit on our note and prosper right now. And I see comments that actually Scotland is, so US is already Anglican. Can you show that?
Are they?
We might have missed that.
Yeah,
just go
I'm
to
not
United
sure
States, you'll see.
Because you weren't.
Yeah, so we can go Reformed. I did not pre Reformed on the new punch yet, and it's boosted. We'll see.
Interesting. I think I've ever seen an Anglican USA. Didn't even realize I could do it. I've always seen England.
Yeah,
or
because
Scotland do it.
Scottish and English cultures can spawn it, and they are Scottish.
So were you English culture at that time, or were you still Dutch?
We are English. We're English. We had to switch to English in order to form Great Britain.
Makes sense. Okay. Nice. And do you think that things are going to be stable between Gotland and Livonia?
Not sure, honestly. I don't know what's their diplomacy, but it looks like they're in good relations because Gotlands, they do not have any ambitions in Europe. They're just doing stuff in the Caribbeans.
I mean, no ambitions in Europe, and yet they're a European.
Yeah.
keep growing.
I was thinking why they just move with everything to the New World and sell that to an ally. And
I
there's Romania that formed.
Yes, we do now have a Romania.
beauty.
Haha. Lovely.
Do you plan on going into Hanover or just leaving that to Livonia?
We do have a goal, like a deal to take one state from Hanover. That is with the Bremen province. So this whole state that is bordering us. Yeah, this one.
What about Oldenburg? That as well?
Yeah, that's that whole state, the Weser
I see.
state.
So Stad and Verden as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, is there anything else you wanted to bring to us, or
No,
Should we
mainly
release
the
it?
industrialization and there's a player war.
there is a player war, so we'd better.
So I think I'm
switch to
gonna
that.
leave now.
So thanks very
Okay.
much for joining us.
Thanks everyone.
Bam. All right, who is this? This is Provence, Sus, Andalusia, Tunis, Serbia, and the United States of America. So we've got Andalusia, who is currently fighting against... Oh no, it's Tunis against Sus. Tunis has finally decided to put Sus out of their misery, or this is to assist Sus moving somewhere else. So we've got Tunis, Andalusia, Serbia versus just Sus. So... Wait, was that no CB?
If it was, then it was definitely meant.
No war goal, this is no CB. Yep,
Yep.
Susian aggression.
I think Sus needed aid moving. They were having problems trying to get Tunisian forces to help them in the New World, and so I'm not exactly sure what has happened since then. But they have been on good relations the entire time. So if there's a no CB, chances are it's planned.
Yeah, see, they're down here in Mexico, so they're probably trying to form Texas. Actually, is this Texas?
They are aiming for Texas, and I happen to know that that is part of the reason why Scotland went U.S.
Ah, okay, so there's a little bit of agreement and wrangling going on there. So we're going to have the Anglican US and a Sunni Texas?
I have to swap out chairs really quick.
So yeah, it currently looks like they are going to be a Sunni Texas. Interesting, I like it. Andalusia, meanwhile, has consolidated their northern border against Provence. They're still gobbling up the little minions on the inside. It looks like Leon's actually managed to spit out Galicia, which is interesting.
U.S. is currently fighting Provence. What is that? What is this about?
That is a good question. Oh, I bet this is Provence going against France, and the US is still allied to France. So this is yet another of the... Yep, that's exactly it. It's because the US is refusing to break that alliance, even though it keeps on dragging them into these kind of useless wars. You hordists. Oh dear, that's funny. All right, so what else has been going on? Well, it looks like Russia is finally going to go and finish off Muscovy. Poland, Lithuania are still around. Romania, Serbia are still looking cool. Sicily has grown. You take over for a second. I'm going to reset some of this because...
Sure. We are looking at Nepal going into Ming. Lot of AI wars in Asia. Looks like India's almost at max capacity here. They've basically squeezed out Bamanis. For the most part, Persia, huge expansion by Persia. Let me check out religion.
Oh, wow,
mode.
yeah, Persia has really grown. Are they still Zoroastrian? Yes, they are. And still actively Stellarizing. With their one missionary at the moment, but I'm sure they just haven't noticed the second one's available.
They have their great project only up to level 1, so that's a 2.5% discipline and fire damage received -5, so they're probably going to be aiming to get that going.
Ah, I see, and now they're also starting to get a couple of the locations. They've got 3 of them, so they're gaining missionary strength +2, goods produced +10, heck yeah, and construction cost -10. Those are some pretty nice bonuses.
Looks like Dai Viet is being very much sieged down by Ming.
Yeah, so in the previous stream, there was a big war where Nepal declared war on Ming. Ming slapped them down. Then Nepal basically started calling in all of the neighbors, including Dai Viet, and Dai Viet seems to be paying the price.
Oof.
Although Nepal is now starting to make a couple of inroads into Ming itself, so this has definitely been a long-term conflict where everyone's getting rather tired, judging by the low enthusiasm shared by all.
Ming has way more casualties. Mandate is at 0, so at least paper troops feels good.
Well, way more. It's only 130,000 more, which for Ming is a lot.
And Chagatai is a player now. Oh, look at that. Okay. So we've got pretty decent Asian expansion routes.
Yeah, and we've also had a couple more players. The German coalition have moved out of Germany and are now inhabiting Manchu, Korea, and Japan instead.
Oh.
And Malaya is also a thing, as is Brunei.
Malaya is the best nation color on the map. Just throwing that out there.
It's pretty cool. I was going to say it's not as good as this one, but then I forgot they went disgusting red, so... Never mind. Less so.
Curious to see what's going on with this Provence-US conflict. I don't know why the US would even keep that alliance. They're so far...
They've kept it stubbornly so long, and I think they're not going to give it up anytime soon. Question in from chat, what are the ideas for Poland? Poland's ideas are currently innovative, quality, and espionage. I think that's because espionage provides a cavalry combat bonus, right? When tied with aristocratic, which they still don't have. Interestingly, they did not take it as one of the openers.
It's also
instead.
AE reduction. I don't know if they're concerned about that, but...
They do have it, 20% reduction, which is nice. They would otherwise be able to get stability cost modifier diplomats, and yearly army tradition decay, which is a little bit better. Can we have a look at the Romanian ideas? I think I can do that if I can. Romania, there we go. No, it's because it needed to be higher. There we go.
Ah.
Okay, so Romania, quality, innovative, and offensive. And in fact, yes, I do want to take a look at what they can do. So they got discipline +5, tolerance to the true faith +2, and then improved relations is their capstone. Manpower recovery 20%, land leader maneuver +1, attrition +1, legitimacy +1, national manpower and infantry cost 10%, global trade power +15, and then national tax +10. They're not the best ideas. I guess it's a decent mix, but nothing that really boosts their military particularly, except I guess the manpower recovery and the discipline. And the maneuver. Okay, it's not terrible.
If we take a look at Papal States, it looks like they are in their last war before they can form Kingdom of God, which will be very exciting.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, they're going against the last little remnants of Switzerland in Italy, and then they will have control of the entirety of Italy. So their stated goal pretty much from the beginning was stay out of Italy.
Which I have found out that they've made some diplomatic deals with Scilly, which is why Scilly is allowed to be kind of snaking their way.
It does very much look like Scilly is becoming the new Austria.
That is their goal. I spoke to Scilly earlier, and they said that they are a little bit concerned with being bordered right now by Poland, Romania, and Serbia, and they have not been able to 100% get all of their diplomat going all the way. However, it looks like they've actually given up some of that Italian land to the Papal States, probably just to be able to survive, I would imagine.
Most likely, and also I think that Italy ends at Friuli, so Gors, Trieste, and Istria, historically Austrian. Those were where the Austrian Navy were based. Also, interestingly, just while you're saying that they're a little bit afraid of their hostile neighbors, they're still just drilling their army on the border. Like, it's fine. Serbia's not going to attack us, probably.
Scilly has actually allied Poland, so that's good, and Swabia.
Right, that is something we should take a look at, actually, is what the different alliance chains. So Poland's still looking kind of isolated. They are only allied with Scilly. That's not very safe. Romania, big allies, Papal States, Serbia, and Russia. Wow, that is actually pretty beefy. Livonia, as we spoke about earlier, with the British and with Provence, and now also with Serbia. So Livonia starting to show a couple of claws. Then we've got Westphalia, who are currently allied with no one. I am a little bit afraid for Westphalia right now. Because it looks like Livonia broke their alliance and Hanover.
Yeah, looking a little spooky.
Yeah. Livonia's still... Oh, sorry, Westphalia's still at play. Yes, they are. Because we did have that mass exodus of all the German nations, which I'm a little bit upset about, I'm not going to lie. Like, their nations was... Especially, Hanover, I would say. Still looked pretty strong. They just needed to change their diplomacy, but no, they'd rather run away. Eh.
I think after that very large Livonian war, it kind of became one of those. I think that they were too weakened militarily and also probably economic and just had to.
Sure, but go down fighting.
Yeah, yeah.
Your countries are still basically intact. Who formed GB? Netherlands. So yeah, let's
Livonia is in a player war against Russia right now,
Whoa, whoa,
so
whoa.
that is that's going to be a really big war. Numbers-wise,
That is literally... Oh no, Great Britain just joined. So Livonia, Britain and
Oh.
Russia going head-to-head. 133,000 infantry on the Livonian side against 74,000. 1,000 cavalry, and Provence just joined as well. So this is the Russian conquest of Ladoga. This does look like it was planned, because all of the Livonian allies are now jumping in. Are we actually seeing movement of troops, or is this just a fake war to exchange territory?
that's scary because Russia was allied to Serbia, and Serbia has joined on the Livonian side. Does Russia have any other allies? Romania.
Russian troops are not even moving. Oh man, that is kind of scary. They're also at war with Submi. I do kind of wonder if this is just them moving borders. Yeah, there we go. They just pieced out with Livonia.
Yep.
They were trying to get Neva. That's
Never
what
mind.
it was.
Alrighty.
I think that's because of missions. Like, the giveaway was the troops aren't moving.
That could have been a pretty brutal war, especially with Livonians' discipline and morale.
But as we spoke to Livonia earlier, they don't have any beef with Russia. They don't intend to go east. Russia doesn't intend to go west. So I guess they're happy having this kind of uneasy stalemate on that border. I do wonder how fortified we're going to start seeing it become.
From what I am seeing, Livonia seems to have good fort lines. I'm going to go check out Russia right now. They don't seem too concerned in the north.
No, but the north is also an absolute pain to fight in because of the huge amounts of attrition. I would like to see Livonia building a few more forts, especially in the north, or maybe on the choke points going south through Sweden and Norway. Like, at least put a fort in, like, Finnmark or something. Or Jokkmokk. That would block. An air, however, would block everything. So a fort in there, at least then you'll stop enemies going south. And then Submi is still in the war, but I think that's just going to be gobbled up by Russia. And then we've got basically the Russian historical borders with Finland and Scandinavia.
Looks
Except
to
for
me,
Karelia,
yeah.
which I think is Karelia Finnish.
I think what we're going to be seeing is the eastward expansion of Russia.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They have
Curious to see what happens with the hordes.
nothing. They have no reason not to. So Russia in 1539. I was going to say that feels a little bit slow, but it is only 1539, so it's not really. And they only just got admin 10. In fact, let's take a quick look at the state of various technologies. That is not what I wanted to see. I wanted to know who the most advanced are. There's a tech pop map mode. Where is it? Tech. It's here somewhere. You're probably looking at it and giggling.
No, I'm getting to it. My
There it is.
hotkeys are also.
Okay, so actually Livonia is looking pretty good, 11, 11, 11. So it looks like 11 is as far ahead of time as people want to go. Russia stuck at 10, 8, 9 against, so lagging 9 in military. That is a little bit concerning. That means that they are 2 full miltechs behind. Serbia are at 9, 9, 11, so at least their military is looking decent. Persia 10, 11, 11. Mewar 11, 11, 11. Ming 11, 10, 10. Nepal 10, 10, 11.
MAMS, AI MAMS 11, 11, 11 as well, but I assume that they are not going to exist for much longer. Curious to see what happens with Jerusalem.
Yeah, we'll take a look at Jerusalem in a minute. Diviet, talking of the player nations, 8, 9, 8. That's going to be a little bit painful for them, especially because they are in a war with Ming and are still fully occupied.
Oof.
Whoops. So yeah, the Mamluks do look like they're going to get eaten up by Tunis. Jerusalem. Haven't heard much about them. I wonder, because Jerusalem was once known as Frankfurt. And they have boosted Jerusalem development up to 46. So I wonder if this is them in their final form or if they have plans beyond this.
Well, so Frankfurt then became Majorca, then became Jerusalem. And I believe that they plan on colonizing. Take a look at their
From
ideas.
here? That's going to be a challenge.
They have expansion.
Expansion doesn't give them exploration. And it doesn't give them range bonuses either. That's an interesting choice that I'm a little confused by. Oh, we got Zimbabwe. Mutapa has created Zimbabwe down here.
Tunis seems to have basically most of Africa. They're probably going to go get the gold mines in the west.
In fact, I have a feeling they may have them already.
Oh, Somalia has formed.
Oh, they have. Oh, awesome. Because Somalia are kind of an interesting one because their ideas are kind of cool. So they have infantry cost -10, trade steering +15 with a capstone of land force limit +20, lightship cost -20, fort maintenance -20, manpower +15, infantry combat +10, trade efficiency +10, lightship combat ability +10, advisor cost -10. I thought there was something else about Somali, maybe it's a mission tree that lets them basically become a land-based pirate.
Yes, they are a pirate nation. I formed them in an MP once by accident and did not realize. So that is a thing. I did speak to Tunis about what their plans were with Ethiopia and the gold mines there. They said that they were going to let Somalia, or at the time, Sengali, have the Horn of Africa. So
they are still a peasant republic, so no pirates yet.
Ah.
I wonder if the fact that they are a peasant republic has blocked off the ability to become pirates, or maybe it is just a mission that they have not yet achieved. I don't know which one that would be. Slave trade? No.
Oh, interesting, because Tunis is now allied to Serbia. I wonder if they have designs on the Papal States. I know that they have been raiding them the entire game.
Interesting. I mean, I've been foreseeing a clash between Tunis and the Papal States for a really long time. I do think that those two are like two of the biggest rivals, just kind of staring at each other across the Med. And as for Serbia's role in that, I don't know.
Andalusia still not owning all of Iberia.
They've been moving really slowly.
Very slowly, and they have good heirs and rule. Well, 133 heir, but a 454. I feel like they have the mana. Let's check out their ideas. Aristocratic and espionage.
Espionage is a second. That is an interesting decision.
Nope, I'm sorry. That's Serbia. Excellent.
I mean, I don't mind giving up my seat so they can have a word.
Yeah, so chat, we are going to give up our seats here, and we are going to have some of the Tinto devs come on.
Hello. I'm here with some more Tinto devs. I've kidnapped them. No, they want to be here. I promise.
Yeah, we're not forced, really.
No, not at all.
No.
So, I hear you guys have made some interesting moves as Poland, right?
Yes, we finally managed to form Poland today. And then we got into some little bit of scuffle. But we managed to finally stabilize, and we have a very big Lithuanian vassal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Poland and Lithuania goes together like bread and butter. So
Yeah, exactly.
we were destined for it.
Exactly. Our objective was to become eventually the Commonwealth, but it's a little bit hard because we need some provinces from Livonia.
Yeah. So from the start, you were planning on.
Yeah, but it's always been something that it's great if we can manage, but it's not going to be possible right now. So it's okay. We will stay as Poland.
What would you say is your what's your checklist of things you need to do become Commonwealth?
Right now, we will need to first finish the little pet we have of, and then integrate Lithuania, and would need, I think, 3 provinces from Livonia. That if we can reach an agreement with them so that they can see those provinces for to us, so that we can become the Commonwealth, we'll do it. If not, we'll
if
stay
things
as
align, you could take the
Yeah,
opportunity.
exactly.
And I believe, have you two been on the stream yet? I'm not sure.
Yes,
think
I was.
you were.
yesterday.
You want to reintroduce yourself to those who may have joined. In
Yeah.
It's a late introduction, but
Yeah.
an important one.
Yeah, I'm Roger. I'm content designer at Tinto.
And I'm Kuba. I am the release engineer at Tinto, and also I help QAs too.
You help QAs
Yeah, to coordinate.
when
and, you
needed.
know.
Yeah.
And
So
also, I wanted to point out, I don't know if you have seen it yet, but we finally managed to create some hussars for Poland.
Oh, did you? No, I did not
Yeah,
catch
yeah.
that. You may have been watching the earlier Worth Ryzen. I'm telling you, those horses.
And
They play it far.
actually, it's like a really nice achievement for myself, because I personally wrote the hussars into the game. So now it's
Oh,
now I can see in my like
now
a masterpiece. Yeah.
your
Well,
masterpiece now to play at the land. Yeah, maybe it was
yeah,
planned from the start.
what I mean at the land, because of course I saw them in the game like earlier, but yeah, now it feels like an
You
achievement.
planned from the very beginning. I'm
Yeah.
making these hussars so that they can be used in this land.
Yeah.
Oh, chat, if you have any questions for the Tinto devs, now is the perfect time. I did see one earlier. I don't remember what it was. I'm sorry. You are free to redo your questions in chat if you have any for Tinto. We have one.
PLC
asking-
ideas.
yeah,
What do you think
PLC
about
ideas.
this? Do we take PLC ideas?
If we manage to form the PLC, it's something to consider. But as I said, forming the PLC right now is something that it's almost guaranteed out of the table.
It's very conditional, it sounds
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, I would need to reach to an agreement with Livonia, but we'll see what we can get.
I mean, the PLC is more universal, but like the universal tool, like it's for everything and for nothing. Sometimes it depends on the situation, of course. Like depending what we really need, because maybe the Polish idea with us are very strong in offensive lag, but maybe we'll need more.
Yeah, for people asking, is there a way to contact you? Probably the best way is the forums, feedback for feedback,
Yeah,
and if it's a bug report or some technical issue.
I mean, some of us also lurk on the Paradox Discord.
Yeah,
so-
yeah. Discord forums. I mean, for really long form stuff, the forums is usually better because you get to have all of your ideas in one place. and- Yeah.
Forums should be the main way, although we also lurk on other social media.
You're going to give us a taste of what you're working on now. Probably not, I'm going to say.
Not really.
No, they're working on something.
We
That's
can
the
say
taste
we're
you
working.
can get.
We can
They're
say we're
working.
working.
They are working.
We are working. We are improving our, like, say, internal procedures. Like we set the quality bar with the Lions of the North, and that's what we are trying to even improve. Like we want to make the game more accessible to everyone, and to work on better on your PCs. Like I guess, like the performance is really
That's
important.
always a good thing.
Yeah.
I know last patch there were some big performance increases, I think, correct?
Yeah, and our plan is to keep doing those improvements until we reach probably the wall. Like at some point, of course, we want to be able to optimize stuff, but we didn't yet reach that point. So, that's the plan. That's the long term.
I know someone earlier in chat asking who are your enemies. I'm assuming in the land and not in real life. Who are your enemies? So who would you say is your biggest rival in this land?
Difficult to say, because we don't actually want to antagonize anybody, really. Russia has been great friend for a long time. We don't want to go against Russia. Livonia, was great help for the independence war. Yes, we were in a war against Livonia, but also because it was a war declared by two of our other allies during the independence war. So we were like forced to pick one ally over the other, and was like, okay, may as well participate into the war just for fancies. We didn't do that much, and we didn't get anything out of it other than a great loss of manpower. But,
it seems like for any big decisions like that, your entire team, and you're a team of 5, right, all playing against Poland.
Yep,
your entire team probably is going to get together and make what's best, or does someone just do it?
Depends on the situation, because usually we consult and decide, okay, what could be best in that time. But sometimes things happen while other people are away talking with other countries and such. So the person at that moment playing has to make a quick decision.
Yeah, because the game does not pause. It's constant 2-speed, which is why we also, unfortunately, can't really pause it for this. So we try to just pick the best times for when Tinto people can be on, but there is obviously the game is continuing on as we go. So we'll probably get back to this very, very soon to the actual game. But I suppose if chat has any last-minute questions, some last call questions for the Tinto developers.
I saw there's one interesting, like if there's a part of the Lions of the North DLC that we are the most proud of. I mean, it's hard to choose one.
Yeah,
but
they're very good. I really like the whole Teutonic mission trees and events with it. The options you have with the Teutons, you have like 3 completely different playthroughs with the same nation.
Yeah, so we were talking about that a little bit earlier. It's with Ovaro, we were saying mission trees need to be different enough that you can play the same nation and have a completely different experience.
Actually, one of my favorite changes was that actually there's like a viable option to not choose Jagiellon on the throne of Poland right now, because then you can go into some interesting games within the Holy Roman Empire. But before it was like, yeah, I can have nice king, but I am losing Lithuania. So what was the point? But now there's like it's a viable option.
Eliminate generic mission trees. I mean, you are kind of like
slowly.
One nation at a time.
Yeah, one by one.
Exactly.
Let's hope one day we'll reach there.
It's actually something we have suffered this land, because as Mazovia, we had a generic mission tree. And we wanted to form Poland quickly so that we could get the Poland mission tree.
Well, you managed to do it. So there you go. Generic mission trees can work. But I think overall your goal is to flesh out as many of the places that have them as possible, right?
Exactly.
And we have unique ideas or mission trees for Greece. Very specific question. Well, that's their answer, is that little head movement.
What I can say is that if anybody has any good suggestions for ideas and such, just post them in the forums.
Yeah, the forums are absolutely the best place. So, I believe we are going to wrap this up here, as there is some action going on, some blue flames. So, Tinto devs, thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to hand this back to the other casters. Mordred will come back here.
Thank you very much for having us.
The peace in the northern countries came at great cost. Their borders were paid for in blood. The Lions of the North Immersion Pack will let you dive deep into the violent history of the Baltic and Scandinavian regions. Will you unify Scandinavia by enforcing the Kalmar Union, or reign supreme as a world power? Rise as a Crusader state, or establish dominance as a secular nation? Will you reclaim old Viking territory, or cross the Atlantic in the quest for new lands? Are you the one to tame the Lions of the North?
Yes, there is, and it looks like Westphalia is already pushing into Swabia, so I'm going to guess that this is a declaration. Yeah, it's the Westphalian conquest of Strasbourg. And Westphalia is already pushing south. We did notice earlier on that one of these guys had no allies. Was it Westphalia? Oh, no, it was Swabia. Swabia currently has no allies. And let's just take a quick look at the side. So we've got Swabia, Bohemia, Brandenburg, Salzburg versus Westphalia and Regensburg. So this is entirely just player versus player. One player versus one player, I should say. There are 2 forts being attacked at the moment, both of them on 7%. But it does look like Swabia's got a bunch of troops ready to fight. Yep, woods and grasslands. They probably do want to attack into Metz and then see if that'll pull Strasbourg away. However, Strasbourg is the war goal.
Apparently, Midge, I am muted. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay, cool. So yeah, just to repeat what Jibbly was saying earlier on, there is a player war between Swabia and Westphalia. It looks like it is Westphalia coming in, and Swabia is defending. Okay, we're caught up.
Excellent. And I was just talking about how it's all about the Mets, baby. They should be... Oh, they're going for it exactly as we suggested. It's like they heard me.
Kapow, 30k against 30k, -1 for Westphalia coming in. And my gosh, Swabia is getting absolutely destroyed.
Oof, that morale.
123 discipline. Where have we seen this before?
Oh
dear.
boy. And the morale, too. They're 0.9.
I mean, Swabia does have 4.7 morale against 3.8 of Westphalia, but that 123% discipline. So Swabia has got the staying power, but Westphalia just punches so hard. And it looks... Oh, no, they haven't actually removed everybody from Strasbourg, just most of the stack. They left one guy behind just to maintain the siege. But this one does... Oh, man, this is really close.
This is very close. It's all up to the rolls now.
I think it's Swabia.
Oh, then 9 versus 5.
I think it's Swabia.
Oh, God.
10k artillery against 15k.
Rolling a 0
oh, no.
last
I was
second.
wrong. I was wrong.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, dear. Oh,
That was very close.
That was incredibly close. These two nations do seem to be very, very evenly matched. So on Swabia's side, they've got 19,000 manpower. Westphalia does have 50,000. Financially losing 34 ducats versus 40. So this does seem to be slightly in Westphalia's favour, though it is very, very close. We also have a group of rebels here that are about to take out Chur.
Ideas-wise, Westphalia has gone offensive inno and quality versus Swabia, who has taken divine, eco, and quantity. So we are seeing the ramifications of those idea sets.
Also, the fact that Swabia has not actually finished 2 of them, whereas Westphalia has finished all 3.
Boy, oh boy.
Metz has fallen. Strasbourg has fallen. This is not looking good for Swabia. They let themselves get completely diplomatically isolated. That agreement that they had going for so long with the Pope seems to have gone. Wow, that is a lot of truces. Rothenburg, Austria, Bohemia, Galicia, Scilly, Papal State ends in 3 years. So that alliance was broken a while ago. Pomerania, the Palatinate, Lübeck, Bremen, and Switzerland. Yeah, Papal State's deciding you are no longer worth keeping around.
I believe Swabia is where the Reformation spawned. Am I incorrect?
No, you are absolutely correct. And in fact, if we go to the overview, it is in fact Westphalia who embraced Protestantism, despite the fact that Swabia was the home of the Protestant faith. And Westphalia standing basically alone, I believe, as the one and only Protestant nation in the world. Oh, Brandenburg fighting bravely, dying less bravely. 3 forts have been taken. There are quite a few forts down here in Swabia. I keep on having to check
the issue with
the
Swabian forts is that it's a lot of flat land. There's a grassland fort that has already been taken. They're fighting on a farmland fort.
Yeah, so if I...
Makes it a little difficult.
Simple terrain, there we go. We can see a little bit more about what the terrain here is like. As they go further south, it does, of course, get worse and worse as they get close to the Alps. And there are 3 alpine forts up here, which they would definitely have a bit of a problem with. But by the time you've been pushed this far back, where do you retreat to? Like, I guess the last one that they absolutely have to fight for is Instol. Intol, sorry. That is, of course, the gold mine. In fact, there are 4 forts down here. And Priesgau over here as well. Although, level 2, level 2, level 2, level 2. And the highest level fort at the moment, I'm guessing, is...
From a manpower standpoint, Westphalia's got it. Curious to see what Swabia's plans for defending themselves are. They seem to just be, right now, recuperating, but not moving forwards.
Miltech 14 required for the next level of fort, and they... guessing are not there yet. 12 and 12, so no. Never mind. Their forts are not obsolete.
I think they're just going to stand on the Brigenz fort. It might be their only defensible fort as far as... Oh, no, they're
going for Augsburg.
They're going, yeah.
Farmlands. I'm going to give it a go. The battle is once again joined. Once again, we have that 123% discipline there. Morale has actually risen from 7 to 4?
3.8, yep.
So a little bit closer there. Swabia is still enjoying the morale advantage, but 2.1 tactics against 1.7. That's just ruinous. Although Swabia is holding. Good little reinforcement wave there, and now it's Swabia that looks to be on the back foot as the reinforcements did arrive on time. 3-star general against 2-star. Raphael Cap is a 5.54. Wow, that is a good commander. 6.21. Yeah, especially in this era, Shock is still, I would say, king. So Raphael Cap being the 5.54. Westphalia have got the leadership advantage.
This again is a
Westphalia holds.
Yeah.
And this is going to be really good for Westphalia. I was a little bit worried about them, as they're like the last remaining member of the Golden League.
They're allied to Livonia, though, so they've got a very powerful ally.
Okay, so they are a little bit better off.
There's also a Poland war going on right now. They are fighting...
Ooh, Russia.
Russia. Oh, no.
Straight one-on-one, Russia-Poland. And Russia is invading. So this is not just a friendly exchange of territories. This is actually a war. And we've got Romania coming in from the south as well. 2 separate wars, in fact. So twice the greed on show at the moment.
Maybe they figured that the team was distracted while they were being interviewed, and it was a good time to attack.
Yeah, and I'm trying to...
Poland hurting in manpower. I wonder if they can slacken.
And armies. They're oh, they're exiled.
Oh, no. Ooh, it's not looking very good for them.
Wow, Poland caught completely out of position. That's brutal. So I think that Russia's going to be taking a chunk out of Lithuania, and I'm guessing Romania will take a chunk out of Poland. I wonder if Silly's going to jump in. This is a really good opportunity for Silly to get some sneaky land.
Now, does Silly want that sneaky land?
That is a good question. Meanwhile, in Swabia, do we have any fights going on? Nope, they have pulled right back to the Alpine Mountains.
Chat wants to see income. If we look at income, I can tell you right now, Great Britain, number 1. Right behind them. Oh, Kingdom of God is formed.
Oh, we'll take a look at that in just a second. But yeah, number 1, Great Britain. Number 2, Kingdom of God. Number 3, Persia. Number 4, Westphalia. Serbia, number 5. That might be because they were taking loans, though. Andalusia after that, then Livonia, then Russia, then Gotland, then Provence, then Swabia. So yes, we do indeed have the Kingdom of God, and I do believe that the papal legates have been preparing a proclamation about this, but once the player wars are finished, that is when we will wheel that one out. We're just a little bit busy with ongoing conflicts, and we kind of suspected you guys would like to see how these unfold.
Age of Reformation has just popped. Looks like Romania going hard into Poland right now.
Yeah, Romania just finishing off one of the very small Lithuanian nations there. One of the little Lithuanian armies. Wow, I am losing my ability to speak again. Meanwhile, it does just look like the Westphalians are quite content to just siege down a bunch of the Swabian territories. Otherwise...
Swabia seems to be hanging tight, just waiting for defensive battles. I think they realize that they just don't have the discipline to attack on flat land. They need every advantage that they can get.
Absolutely, and that will mean fighting in the Alps, but of course the longer that they leave this, the more squeezed they're going to become. And I do kind of wonder a little bit about their capabilities of withdrawing and replenishing, especially if they let some of the sieges go high. So Bregenz Mountains, Intal Mountains, Chur Mountains, Munchen's farmlands, Augsburg was farmlands, Breisgau is woods. So definitely down here is where they want to be fighting.
Curious to see if Provence is going to try to also expand into Swabia, or if they've made a deal with Westphalia, and if Westphalia just wants all of that for themselves. They could take a lot in this peace deal.
They could, and in fact, Scilly is sitting right next to the gold mine, more or less. I feel like Scilly wants to go in one direction or the other, and if they just sit here doing absolutely nothing, then their passivity is really going to cost them in the long term, I suspect. Because they have been a very passive nation.
They are almost a new Austria, although Austria does still exist.
Yes, they do.
The Poland conflict is not looking good.
No, but at least we have the Polish forces on the field. Have they at least got winged hussars? They do! So Poland probably still able to pack a real punch, and here we go, we're seeing this for the first time. Poland against Romania, 110 discipline against 120 Romanian, 3.8 versus 4 morale, so very similar, but a whopping 2.1 tactics against 1.6, so I suspect there may be some tech disparities, and even though we're seeing the gorgeous winged hussars being forced to take wing and run.
That is a double-sided war. Very smart of...
Oh, and we also have Swabia against Westphalia. Sorry for cutting in right there. It does look like this is going to be a Swabian victory. Swabia does manage to hold Westphalia, almost throwing in a second stack, but they did pull back. So Breisgau, for the moment, will hold. I really don't know what Poland is going to do. How is Poland so weak? Like, this can't be after the Livonia War, surely. They've had time to recover.
I believe that they were white-pieced out of the Livonian War.
Yeah, so that would have been early, and yet they're still sitting here on 4,000 manpower.
Oof.
Whereas Russia has regained all the way up to 66,000. Poland is crazy weak. It certainly seems that way, yeah. Oh, Romania actually pushed into Crimea. Hadn't noticed that. Nice.
Oh, I hadn't noticed that either. It is looking like Westphalia...
Yeah, as chat has noticed, there is a bit of a fort line starting to be built against Livonia here. Unfortunately, they're facing the wrong way. Meanwhile, in Swabia, looks like Westphalia is going to go for Breisgau once again. Starting that siege, only 14% to go through. They have got 2 of the 5 artillery pips. And they also have a level 3 siege leader. Wow. While Russia continues pushing through Lithuania, Poland, slowly but surely being eroded by their 2 enemies.
Oh, we've got to pause. Probably peace deals being made here.
Possibly. I thought they only paused if there was a unconditional, and I don't see either of those are unconditional. But while we're paused, I did see a question earlier on about what happened with Ming and Dai Viet. So Dai Viet is mostly occupied by rebels now. That has changed a little.
Better than Ming?
Maybe. There's 20k stacks, although they are pretenders. And then Ming's looking a bit dinged up, to be honest.
Minged up.
Minged up, there you go. Okay, so there is apparently a video coming about the Ming situation, the Ming's hopefully explosion, which will be appearing a little bit later, although we are now on paused once again. So we'll be back into the action. So that is 2 pre-recorded videos for you guys to enjoy once things have calmed down a little. And that pause doesn't look to have been a peace deal. Things are still fighting.
Swabia hurting right now.
Swabia looks like they have taken the maximum number of loans, 2,899 ducats in the bank, so they can merc right up and hopefully fight this one to the death. But then again, they are hemorrhaging 124 ducats a month, so they're not going to be able to keep that up for that long.
Once again, taking a woods fort battle, but there are quite a few Westphalian reinforcements.
There are indeed 32 Westphalians waiting, another 40,000 Swabians. So I think that Swabia may now have the numbers. They must have brought in mercenaries. But against that 123 discipline, though, that's where the killer is. Although it should be noted that Swabia has a lot of artillery. Their backline is actually looking really solid, 22k cannon. So their front line's going to be fighting all the harder because of that. But that discipline's just absolutely decimating them.
The Westphalian rolls, though, have...
Fights are still being close, and Westphalia still has the better
all
general.
of these battles
I think
have been
Swabia's got
close.
this. This is so close.
Oh,
Yeah, Swabia's got this. They did it.
let's see with a 1.
There's only one guy left. There he goes.
Wow.
Swabia wins.
That was
Oh,
very close.
they might be able to chase down and destroy one of the armies. He retreats in
Very
the wrong
close.
direction. Okay, he's leaving. It's fine. They're fine. They're fine. You can stop panicking.
Swabian manpower down to 3,000.
Meanwhile, Poland has finally started recruiting mercenaries. 3 different companies currently working on gaining morale, but bit late.
Tunis is now in a war, by the way, with Kingdom of God.
Oh,
Oh, I knew it was
okay,
coming.
that
I
is a
knew
big
it.
one. Yeah, Tunis and Zimbabwe versus Mamelukes. And then on the other side, we've got the Kingdom of God on their own against Andalusia, Tunis. Just those 2. So Serbia, like, who are the Kingdom of God's allies? Are they just chilling? Romania, obviously busy. Provence, I guess, could. Provence probably wants to get in against the Iberian powers.
Realistically, Kingdom of God numbers versus all of those nations is...
Kingdom of God is actually against Andalusia, not Tunis.
Oh,
It's the papal conquest of Barcelona. It always takes me a minute to, like, translate that.
yep.
But it is actually relatively close numbers-wise. 94,000 infantry against 76,000, 12,000 cavalry against 18,000, 19,000 artillery against 18,000. So numerically, it's going to be pretty similar. At sea, 5 heavies against 2, 12 lights against 0, midges being silly, 28 galleys against 89. So the Kingdom of God probably ruling at sea, though they will need to be careful of the couple of heavies.
There's also, a Provence war against France, and for some reason it's showing as blue flames, I assume because France is
Because
not
of
giving up the
Scotland.
United States.
Oh yeah, US, of course. I forgot they are the US now.
Excellent.
So it does look like Tunis is fighting against the Mamelukes. The Mamelukes are taking a lot of land out of Tunis. I don't know how this has gone so badly for them so quickly.
I think they're more concerned with the Kingdom of God war.
Yeah, but their troops aren't up there. This is all Andalusia. Like, where's Tunis's armies?
Tunis's armies are coming in now. I think that they were maybe...
No, they're in the south. They're near Ethiopia.
Oh, okay. They were getting ready probably for Ethiopian expansion. They've done a lot of eating into West Africa. They've got quite a few rebels there. Maybe they were dealing with that.
Also, Somalia is in a war against the Mamluks. So it looks like Tunis and Somalia were conspiring to take down the Mamluks and then got surprised by the Papal States. And here come the Papal hordes. Wow, that is a lot of troops descending on northern Andalusia. Andalusia being one of the tougher nations to take down because of their various resistances, if they've got them yet. Yes, they do. Fire damage received, although we're still in the early game. Well, mid-game, I'd say now. So fire damage received, probably not the most useful just yet. Meanwhile, looks like Swabia has actually pushed Westphalia mostly back, although they did just lose a battle, judging by the retreating flags. And Poland. Poland is fighting 50,000 troops against 20,000 Russians and thrashing them. This is going to be a glorious victory, a chance for redemption for the Poles. I'm kind of giggling because Tinto's over there laughing. Meanwhile, Romania continues to push through the south. It looks like Lithuania has almost entirely been quashed. And then we've got the last fort up in Gardenas.
Very, very sneaky with the north and south coming down on Poland like that.
Yeah, definitely stuck between a rock and a hard place there. With who would be the rock and who would be the hard place? Romania or Russia?
Between a rock and a cold place.
There you go.
We are looking at Swabia being re-sieged down.
It's just difficult because there's 3 player wars.
And Kingdom of God just thrashing right now. Oof.
Yeah, Kingdom of God are pushing south, but they haven't actually seen any opposition just yet. We've got the Andalusians for the first time rallying in Zativa. Meanwhile, Tunis
Seems
mostly
to
just
be-
trying to take their lands back
Yeah,
from the
focusing on
Mamluks.
lands.
So this whole big rivalry between Tunis and the Kingdom of God hasn't really materialized because Tunis appear to be just a massive paper tiger. Like, seriously, where is the rest of their military? They have 11,000 manpower. Kingdom of God sitting there on 60,000. Andalusia on only 10. I'm a little bit shocked by this. It does look like the siege of Barcelona is going... That's not Barcelona, that's something else. Valencia. Oh, that's Valencia. Right, of course it is. %, on the Valencia city right now. Let's go and take a look over at Poland, see if the Polish Hussars are pushing back. It does look like they are managing to hold on to the majority of Poland itself. One of the forts has fallen with a group of Romanians. Doesn't look like Russia is interested in going after Poland proper. They just want Lithuania. Meanwhile, in Swabia, it does look like the boundaries are being pushed again. And once again, I tab over just in time to see Swabia start running.
Ooh. How's their manpower?
Swabia's manpower is not great. They've got 1,000 versus Westphalia's 1,000. Like, these two, so well balanced. It's just that 123% discipline that Westphalia has somehow managed to wrangle is causing
Well,
some
Westphalia is
problems.
out of manpower, but they do have professionalism versus Swabia, who I believe has full slackened.
Oh, dear. That's not good.
So
So Swabia at the moment, in terms of professionalism, 0. Westphalia have got 18%. They can slacken 3 times, and if they recruit another general or 2, could do it 4 times. Meanwhile, Andalusia, it does look like Valencia has now fallen. The Kingdom of God forces just keep on pushing south. They're now going for Castile as well. And I would imagine Andalusia is screaming at Tunis right now, and Tunis just like, eh.
yeah, Tunis does not seem to be overly concerned with what is going on in Iberia.
No, not at all. Sus is also in this conflict. Just
Sus
double
has fully migrated. They are no longer in Africa.
Yeah, so where are they now?
They are. Their goal is to form Texas.
Right, of course. Oh, that's why they went to Florida, because they couldn't reach Texas. Now it makes sense. Okay, so yes, they are indeed in Borado.
They want to make a Sunni Texas. That's what I've been told.
Fair enough. And Kingdom of God continues to push against Andalusia, but not a lot they can do. Swabia losing more and more ground as they try to reconsolidate their forces.
Oh, Russia is in Poland at this point. They seem to...
Yes, they are. Poland sent packing, unfortunately. Just so many troops there. Poland recruiting another 2 sets of mercenaries. Poland going all in. They're spending 152 ducats a month. They probably need to use the trick where you just take as many loans as you possibly can, because the more land you take, the less loans will be available to you.
Livonia in a war against France and Pomerania, so that's what
It's
the
against the
blue
USA.
flame is. Yep, USA.
Yep.
Curious why USA won't get rid of that alliance.
I guess they want to show their loyalty to the world to see. Like, we are totally trustworthy and you can trust us totally. That's the only reason I got. Or they want the old alliance to become the really old alliance.
Could also be.
Oh, there's a mission for the USA and France.
Oh, okay.
Does Aachen still exist? I believe so.
Yep.
I don't know how much power and prestige the Kaiser holds anymore. That would actually be something which would be interesting to hear about, whether the Kaiser has been up to many shenanigans at the moment.
Aachen with 837k gold. Oh my God, buckets of ducats. Look at that.
Buckets and buckets of ducats. Oh,
Wowie.
Wait, Brandenburg exists?
Brandenburg is a vassal of Swabia.
Currently being sieged down by Westphalia.
That war does not seem to be going too well for the Swabians.
No, it doesn't. They are about to lose Augsburg again, which of course was their capital, and they've withdrawn back to the Alpine passes. What they probably should have done is stayed in their passes, beaten Westphalia 2 or 3 times, and then pushed out. I think they probably counterattacked too early. Meanwhile, Poland with their 46,000 against Romania's 45,000. We have a second Polish stack that is about to get attacked by the Russians. Poland, unfortunately, looking like they just don't have the fuel in the tank to win this one. 120 discipline against 110, and Poland, stack 1, sent packing. Meanwhile, the Poles are fighting against the Russians, which were rushing in to try and reinforce. Russia caught in a -1, and Poland also sent packing there. 2 defeats more.
Would you say that the Russians are rushing in and the Romanians are roaming in?
That deserves a sound effect.
Yeah, I didn't get my sound effect, Midge.
Aw. Da-dum-tsh.
Da-dum-tsh. We'll make it ourselves. It's okay.
There we go.
Thank you.
Better late than never.
We are...
Nepal, please. Nepal's not in a player war, or are they?
No.
Let's focus on the players for now. On the wars going on here. So, let's see. Oh, Westphalia's pulled right... Why is Westphalia pulling right back? Are they letting Swabia just counterattack again?
Not sure what their plan is over
Really?
there. Looking at them, they seem to just be sending a stack to go stop the Regensburg
No, it's
assault.
because they're fighting Bohemia.
Oh.
Bohemia is an AI. So Westphalia is kind of surrounded by Swabian vassals and minions. Did Swabia just get an event or a mission or something that gave them Brandenburg and Bohemia? I can't imagine they had them already.
Swabia taking this moment to re-siege some of their forts. 94% war score, though, so...
They released Brandenburg, but from whom? Stole Bohemia from Austria and released Brandenburg. That is a very big Bohemia, though. Like, surprisingly big. Meanwhile, we have got the Poles on the march again to go and relieve the siege of Siezin. 75,000 Poles against 54,000 Romanians, 14% on this siege. We got the Russians. Oh, 14%, and it fell. It fell. Oh no, Poland. -1 because of the river crossing. Thankfully, the terrain is farmlands. 3.6 morale versus 4.2. Relatively equal at the moment. 60,000 against 70,000, but there are another 20,000 Russians on the way. And there we go. Poland manually removed themselves from that particular fight because it was no longer in their favor.
There are 2 large battles going on in Andalusia right now. Kingdom of God seems to...
Yep, so they are. So we've got Andalusia, 4.6 morale against Kingdom of God's 4.5. Kingdom of God, however, has 120 discipline. So the discipline's really starting to rack up against 100% of Andalusia. It does look like they'll lose the top battle. In fact, Andalusia just got a reinforcement wave. And then there is another larger battle going on, which Andalusia also ran away from. So they're going to try to back off further into the country. Meanwhile, Tunis is bravely fighting against the Mamluks still. Because priorities.
They seem to be completely unconcerned with that.
Who does Tunis think the Kingdom of God's going to go for after Andalusia falls?
I'm not sure.
No.
Tunis is actually great power #1 right now, so...
They do not feel it. 14,000 manpower, they are losing money. 46,000 manpower maximum, they do not feel like a great power. Not at all.
They're going to feel the wrath of the Kingdom of God here pretty soon if they don't step up to help out their Andalusian allies.
An army of 63,000, whereas the Kingdom of God's got 112,000. Like almost double.
I also happen to know that Tunis has been raiding Kingdom of... Or, well, back when it was the Papal States, pretty much since 1444, so I'm sure the Kingdom of God is not going to forget that.
Oh, I'm sure they're willing to forgive and forget. It is the Christian thing to do, after all. Also, I am noticing just how many forts the Kingdom of God has put in northern Italy. They are really starting to shore themselves up against the Provence and Swabian borderlands. Really starting to build fortress mountains. Meanwhile, got some more battles in Andalusia, 60,000 against 49,000. But there are a lot more Andalusian troops ready to join the fray. The Pope being caught a little bit out of position. They have 40,000 troops currently trying to siege, and in fact they're sending the troops the wrong way. 60,000 against 55. We've got some more papal units coming in. We've got Tunis showing up to actually fight, maybe. Otherwise they're just going on holiday to Gibraltar, also possible. Yep, they're just on holiday in Gibraltar. Are you kidding me? Is Tunis an AI?
No, Tunis is a player.
Well, they're not playing like it.
They've got the majority of their troops currently in...
Papal States is on a -3.
Yeah.
If Tunis had reinforced that, even with 6,000 men, they probably would have won.
Papal States also got a few zeros in a row. That would have that little 6K could have been the determining factor with that fresh
100%
morale.
it could have been. Tunis is proving themselves to be an absolutely awful ally right now.
Well, maybe they don't really feel threatened. I mean, are they navally superior to Kingdom of God? Because if they can...
No, they're not. Kingdom
Oh,
of God has
then?
like double or even triple the number of galleys.
Well, Gibraltar won't matter then.
No. Like, the one thing that Tunis has is they got 5 heavies, whereas Kingdom of God's got like 2. But that's the only category that they're ahead in.
Oof. Poland here, still struggling. They
They're
are
still struggling.
almost fully sieged down,
Still fighting.
but they are trying.
They're definitely trying. They are still bleeding money. I dread to think how many loans they've taken. 18 loans, you know, just early days.
About to go bankrupt
Yeah.
in next year, so
Yeah, and then it really would be all over because you would lose the 50% morale, I believe, is one of the penalties. Meanwhile, Provence has finished the war against France and taken a bunch more territory. Meanwhile, Livonia is fighting France. Why is Livonia fighting France?
it is a humiliation war. They probably need the PP. Good PP.
I guess. Yeah, it's not one of the age bonuses this time around. It's in the previous age. Bit late. Meanwhile, Andalusia has now retreated all the way up to Galicia. Tunis forces still gathering slowly in Morocco. 42% on the fort of Malacca. Meanwhile, the Papal States have taken Evora. There is another fort in Lisboa and also up in Galicia. Meanwhile, peace. Peace has been declared between Swabia and Westphalia. I'd love to know what was given up. It does look like...
Sections of
White peace?
Bohemia, no, Brandenburg.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you're right.
It's the Swabian vassals that have been eaten.
Yeah, so Westphalia itself didn't lose too much. Brandenburg lost a little, and Bohemia lost also very, very little. Just take a very quick look over Poland. Unfortunately, we arrived just as Poland is running away again. Papal States still sieging stuff down. Castile and Portugal putting in way more action right now than Tunis is.
Romania seems to be gunning for the entirety of Poland. I'm curious to see if they actually... Oh, you know what?
Silly's still not doing anything. Just not doing anything.
They're living true to their name. It's silly.
Well, I think their existence may become silly short if they don't start doing something.
Romania is going for Black Sea coast, whereas Russia, I think, just wants Lithuania.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yep.
Russia is still continuing to throw troops in, but they're definitely letting Romania bleed for the brunt of the battles that are going on. Like, Poland at this point does have their ruinous cavalry combat ability. 40%, 35% infantry and 10% artillery. Poland's armies, even though they don't have the discipline necessary, is that a stack wipe? I think Poland just got stack wiped.
Persia is now in a war against Romania and Russia. Russia is currently attacking.
Yeah, Poland just got stack wiped.
Yeesh. So
Persia has intervened on Poland's side.
that's, yep.
Interesting.
I wonder if that was an emperor mission,
Maybe?
because I don't think that they were allied previously.
Romania's not a great power, so that couldn't have been a great power intervention. Persia poggers. Will Persia be able to do enough early enough to save Poland? I feel like it's probably a bit late, but maybe.
Bringing those fresh troops, however, would be huge, considering Persia
yeah.
does have,
They have a huge military.
big military. They've got decent discipline. Let's see if they've upgraded that monument yet.
Although even with Persia in the war, and they're already on medium war enthusiasm, by the way,
I mean, they're going bankrupt.
they are actually... Wait, Russia only has 2,000 artillery?
That can't be.
They do. That might even be Astrakhan. I'm not sure that Russia's built any artillery. Because I was going to say that Russia still outnumbers Persia. They outnumber them in infantry, but factor in the artillery and then it's a lot more even. And Poland did actually inflict 127,000 casualties at a loss of 40. So in terms of kill deaths, Poland did well. It's just that they don't have anything left. Like getting stack wiped like that in that previous battle, that's going to be very, very bad for them. Meanwhile, Andalusia is making use of the opportunity afforded to them by their minions, because both the Portuguese and the Castellan armies drew the Papal Wrath to the north, allowing Andalusia to escape down to the south. However, the Strait... Oh no, they didn't actually take Jabal Tarak. So they can still, in fact, cross over. Tunis with their 13k, just, guarding the straits, making sure that nothing...
Still sieging down in Egypt.
Yep.
That's
priorities. And Serbia is finally finishing off the Ottomans. The last vestiges of Ottoman.
It appears Zimbabwe taking all of Madagascar. Africa seems to have only Africa on the mind. They do not seem to worry about anything else that's going on in the rest of the world, and why should they?
Not entirely true. Somalia did go for Kot.
Oh, right. I forgot they did have that vassal.
Do they still? Yes, they do. I don't know if they've gone any further beyond that. Doesn't look like it. And now that would be very difficult to do because Malacca is a pretty powerful naval nation when they get going.
Serbia is also in the Polish war, Polish-Russian conflict.
Serbia is also in the Polish-Russian conflict on Russia's side.
They must be going into Persia. Let's see.
Oh, well, the Persians are busy going into Russia. It looks like Russia's pulling most of their troops back, letting Romania do the remainder of the work. Persia's hordes are pushing north into Astrakhan, but I think it's going to be Serbia that they've got to be careful of.
Oof.
And yeah, Russia, Serbia now do outnumber. There go the Ottomans. End of an era.
This is looking a little scary for Poland. I thought maybe having a Persia intervention might be a little helpful, but it appears now with Serbia coming in from the west.
It feels like it's a major problem for Persia at this point.
Yeah.
Like, Persia does have some really scary territory to march through. Like, you do not like attacking into Persia, not with this number of forts, not with this amount of mountains. But Persia's armies are currently pushing into Russia. Are they going to let the Serbian hordes just break against the walls of Western Persia and then hopefully roll south to deal with them? Like, I'm not sure that the best thing they can do here is attack. Although it actually kind of looks like Serbia.
Persia is actually being attacked by Romania as well. So Romania and Russia seem to enjoy attacking the same nation at the same time.
Yeah, they definitely
It's
seem
a good
to
alliance.
have
Yep.
a good bit of coordination going there. Poland, meanwhile, down to 3 forts. Romania, I was going to say no longer pushing, but then they started pushing.
So anyways, they started pushing. Looking like Persia might get this Russian fort. We'll see.
Hang on. USA is not in a player war. France is being attacked by Livonia, therefore that alliance must have broken. It has!
Oh, they got rid of it.
US is no longer allied to France. Livonia was the straw that broke that particular camel's back. You don't mess with Livonia. Things we have learned today, you do not mess with Livonia. Meanwhile, Persia sitting with 48,000 on one fort, which seems a bit wasteful in terms of attrition. Have they not heard of General Winter? I hear he's kind of scary in Russia. Meanwhile, Serbia getting lost.
Andalusia is currently losing a battle against Kingdom of God.
Well, it's in their name. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
And
so yeah, at the moment, Papal States, Kingdom of God pushing into Portugal. Castile losing a few territories, but it looks like most of the Papal Wrath is still very much against Andalusia. So I wonder what they're going to do with the land here. Are they just going to take it and stop taking land in Spain? Are they going to release somebody? Are they going to give it to somebody? Are they going to... I don't know. I'm curious. I'm guessing they're going to take it for themselves, because Spain does have some pretty nice spots around, and it does also, of course, have a gold mine.
La Mancha.
Meanwhile, Persia still with the 2 giant 40k stacks, just suffering attrition. How much manpower have they lost already? I dread to think. Persia's already lost 16,000 manpower to attrition.
Persia's out of professionalism.
26k out of the 95 maximum. They do have some of their pressy buttons. Sanction Holy War. Gives claim on all neighbors. That's not going to be very useful. Local dev cost, not very useful. Construction cost, not very useful. In these situations, like those buttons are really, really cool. Not so much when you're at war, though. Meanwhile, Serbia has actually taken over the war duties from Romania and is just blanket sieging.
Oh. And Poland's still not piecing out.
So I think there must have been a bit of a conference between Serbia and Russia, where Russia's like, nah, I got this. We're cool. I can deal with Persia myself. And we do indeed have the Russians moving into Tsartsin. 47,000. Whoa! Russia getting absolutely destroyed. 130% discipline against 110. This may be creating a couple of flashbacks for the Russians here from a previous conflict against a similarly kitted out nation. Also Persia with 19,000 artillery fleshing out their back like that. Russia sent absolutely demolished. Second Russian stack coming in, 20,000 men. No general. General arrives a little bit late. 40,000 against 40,000, but I am sure that they were hoping to have arrived earlier, and that is a stack wipe. 40k dead. And now suddenly I think that those missives that Russia sent to Serbia saying, we got this, have suddenly become, we don't got this.
Yeah.
We don't got this. Help.
Curious to see the...
But that is not the important conflict. The important conflict is what is happening in Poland, because once Poland falls, Poland is still the war leader here. And Poland is now full occupied. How long can they hold out? Oh, the stab hit's going to be coming in.
Have they gone bankrupt yet?
Yes. And they're at -2 stability, so they can only take 1 stab hit.
This is...
Meanwhile, Andalusia, Papal Iberia has now appeared in the Aragonese former territories. So Andalusia, I wouldn't say too badly hurt. They basically lost 3 states. But I think what's going to be more hurt is Andalusia's relations with Tunis.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, losing a chunk of Iberia hurts, but knowing that...
Your #1 great power ally did nothing.
Yeah, that does not feel good. And what is Tunis up to? Still the Mammoth War.
Priorities.
Yep.
What is Andalusia going to do now? Like, who can they reach out to? So Kingdom of God currently is allied with Provence, which would be the only other ally I would think that Andalusia might be able to reach out to.
Oh, Romania has taken coastline. They've pieced out now. So Poland has gotten some land back. They've got rebels. Looking like Russia...
Russia's recruiting a few people.
Yep. Looks like Persia is on the move, though.
Yeah, they are. Still coming in with 85,000 troops, which does seem to be their entire military. Serbia still not really doing... And no, that's not true. Oh! Persia has actually found a way into Lithuania. They can get through. So we've got Persia lining up potentially to fight against the Serbians and start liberating Poland and Lithuania, which is very interesting. His Royal Highness has arrived, and I do wonder if his imperial decrees are something to do with our situation. So I'm going to give up my seat so that he is able to speak. Or we can have another seat brought in. A proper throne, of course. He's not going to just want any old chair. We're going to make space. Oh, no, Ghibli's going to make space. I'll move across. Okay, I'm going to need to keep half an eye on the situation here. Whoop, whoop. Just in case there are any further battles, but at the moment it looks like we are safe to speak. So, welcome to the stream, Your Highness. How are you doing?
Welcome, my citizens. Welcome, my subjects. I feel very well, although a bit cold, as you can hear my voice.
Oh,
and the royal court, or the imperial court, is pondering upon the idea if we should maybe move from the cold Aachen to some beautiful tropical island somewhere in the south of the world. Then again, we're not sure if you, my citizens, are willing to take this long road with us. So a vote shall happen if and which region of the world we shall move. Then there will be a solicitation made. There will people, or there will be, I hope, citizens coming and asking us to buy or take their island for us, and we might even return Aachen in return.
Oh, wow.
Of course, we'll take a lot of our, well, development with us and not leave it as rich as it is now, because we have to move the castles and the court.
Yeah, the
and
royal household needs to go, and with it all the bureaucracy of state.
Of course it does. Of course it does. Because all the wars going on in Europe are making me nervous, and the weather isn't really nice.
There are definitely a lot of wars, especially here in the east at the moment, with a couple of borders shifting rather dramatically. So we were wondering, this intervention by Persia,
Yes?
were you at all involved?
Oh, no. I was mostly involved with art. We've got lots of little art pieces commissioned by our loyal subjects, drawn for my, well, joy and happiness. And I was very well occupied with anything else in politics, to be honest. Then again, my court is very well informed on what's happening and helping out whoever needs it.
Russia managing to just kill a group of Persians there. Cutting off supplies, getting some logistics perhaps.
So where is it, Your Highness, that you would like to move?
Oh, I would love some nice Caribbean island like Jamaica or Cuba, or maybe just the Mediterranean like Rhodos or Ibiza. Some place where I can warm my stiff bones. You understand?
I do. Have you considered perhaps something in maybe India?
Oh, the Maldives will be beautiful, or even more east like Bali.
Oh.
And maybe someday there will be a warmer version of the cold Zealand in the south. I would like to call my home, like, you know, a New Zealand.
Sorry to interrupt you there, we have another battle coming in. So this is 46,000 Persians against 47,000 Russians, with another 20,000 Russians well on the way. The Persian reinforcements seem completely unperturbed, as the 40,000 seem to be absolutely trouncing the Russians as they come in piecemeal. We also have Serbia starting to muster the forces to come to the assistance of their Slavic brethren. 40,000 against 76,000, 67,000, I can't count. Numbers, they're hard. 130 discipline against 115. Russia has gained a little bit of extra discipline to close that gap, but they just don't have the fuel in the tank to keep going. Is Serbia going to arrive in time? No, they are not. And a couple of Serbian soldiers, I think, are going to pay the ultimate price because of that. And Persia, once again, holds firm.
Mon Dieu. So many casualties in my name. It makes my heart happy.
This is certainly going to be providing a lot of scenes for your artists to capture with their skill and finesse.
Yes, exactly. Just a few minutes ago, Nepal came to, well, mourn the 150,000 casualties in the war against Ming, but also declaring that the mandate of heaven is squandered, which makes me happy because, of course, I could not tolerate another emperor in this world.
And that other imperial household seems to have absolutely collapsed. Yue, Ning, Shu, Wu, and Ji having all been split out from Ming. The Mandate of Heaven is no more. It has been fractured.
It's a beautiful image, a beautiful image.
It is certainly a testament to the strength of arms that your subjects are able to provide and show.
It is. But then there's a new problem rising, because with my old subjects sometimes having to leave their old homelands and looking for new ones, the space on the globe is growing too little. And maybe you can ask our citizens if they have some ideas or some longings where to put the new countries of our citizens.
So should we need to repopulate any areas of the world, are there any nations that could perhaps be used to this end?
Well, currently chat seems to be favoring New Zealand.
Oh, Gotland's in Australia.
Let's see.
Also the moon, there was a nice talk about relocating the papal state to the moon. They angered me a lot.
The lunar states.
Exactly. One of the new American nations even promised to build a very big crane to get the papal state and the Pope to the moon, but it didn't finish it yet. I hope they will do this soon.
So are we to understand the Pope is not necessarily in the highest of imperial graces right now?
Kingdom of God!
Indeed.
Is it at least me and I and God they're a kingdom of?
I think that is a question you'll need to put to the Pope.
I will! Huh. So I may leave and speak a word with the Pope for this preposterous new name of the kingdom without even asking me.
Shocking.
Shocking, shocking. Are they going to overthrow me at some point? Is this something they can even do? I'm not sure. Maybe I should move out of Europe as soon as possible. Goodbye, good night, good luck, good riddance.
We will have emissaries sent to you once the charter, the people's suggestions have been correlated as to where to move. Thank you very much, Your Highness. Very much appreciate your time.
Thank you, Your Grace, for gracing us with your presence.
I didn't vote for him. Excellent. Always a real pleasure to have His Imperial Grace here. Meanwhile, Serbia have started to rally their forces. Russia have been holding firm, but Persia has been carving a bit of a sway through the Russian farmland here. Lithuania is still mostly occupied by the Russians. Romania having, of course, expanded into a vast chunk of Poland, but those Polish fortifications held up the Serbians and bought a lot of time, frankly, for the Persians. Meanwhile, we do have another battle coming in. We've got Serbia for the first time showing up in strength to test their arms against the Persians. So this is a -2 on Serbia. 105 discipline, which is even less than Russia against 135 morale. So they do have more against 4.5. However, the cavalry seem to be out of whack, taking a little bit of a penalty there of 60,000 against 60,000. However, there are another 40,000 Persians on the way in that are about to join the conflict. 1.8 military tactics against 2.2. There are now 100,000 Persians fighting against 80,000. There are, however, another 40,000 Russians bearing down upon them. This is actually a surprisingly close battle, although I should point out that the Persians do now have a full back line of artillery who are providing half of their pips to the front line, so those units will be fighting a lot harder against an entirely unsupported Serbian and Russian front. And it does look like the extra firepower might be enough to swing this one, as the morale does drain from both sides. It does look some of the artillery is starting to withdraw. We do have artillery in the front line, but there we go. The Russians and Serbians front is entirely collapsing, and they are sent packing once again.
And I believe we will have to send an emissary to our absolute move to New Zealand. Okay, excellent. Well, it looks like the Emperor will be leaving Aachen, taking a trip far south.
I'm sure that Scotland will be very appreciative of the new trade opportunities that will be arising in this area. Perhaps a new hub for people to squabble over in the attempt to earn that imperial prestige and grace.
I wonder who will be taking the province of Aachen.
Indeed, that is a good question.
Could be Westphalia. Great Britain might want it.
Or somebody else entirely. Andalusia.
They need somewhere to go.
They do. They really do, because it's not going to be Tunis. Oh dear. Anyway, Persia continuing to siege down the front line against the Lithuanians. Interestingly, actually going for the Russian territories as opposed to lifting the sieges of their beleaguered allies. What are the Persian ideas? That is a very good question. Let's go and have a look. They have got quality, economic, and offensive finished. Meanwhile, they have morale of armies plus 15, cavalry combat plus 15, recovery army morale plus 5, national manpower plus 15, goods produced plus 10, discipline plus 5, caravan power plus 20, production efficiency plus 5, yearly prestige plus 1, manpower recovery plus 10, national tax plus 10, and don't forget that they are in fact Zoroastrian, so they have a plus 20% goods produced, 10% from the national ideas and 10% from their other bits. They also have another location secured, which is giving them a governing capacity modifier 2.
In regards to Serbian ideas, they've gone aristocratic and espionage. They are currently no manpower. They're putting everything that they have into this conflict now.
So Russia is completely tapped. They're down to the last 17,000 manpower. Persia is now at 0 manpower. Once I can click on them properly, there we go, they're at 0. Also with 0 professionalism. So both of them are very much running on entirely dry at the moment. Whereas Serbia, 0 manpower, but a ton of professionalism to tap into at a whopping 80%. That's got to be some of the highest in the world. So Serbia has got a lot more to give, but are they going to really want to give that for Russia? I don't know. If Persia was threatening Serbia's borders, maybe, but that's not where this war is happening. It's happening far from that.
Is at 98% army tradition.
Crikey. In fact, I think I want to take a look at the war enemies army quality comparison. So Serbia is at 81 professionalism. The next highest would be Lithuania at 7. Tradition 98. The next highest would be Persia with 77. So they're not that far behind, although the higher you go, it really does kind of scale quite heavily. And then Serbia with 29% siege ability, which is impressive considering Persia does actually have offensive ideas, which gives siege ability.
And their Great Wonder is up to level 2, so that does give them the Discipline plus 5, minus 5% culture conversion cost, and minus 10% fire damage received. Would have been nice for them in this war to be able to get level 3, but they just didn't have enough time.
But I'm sure they're going to be working hard towards that final objective. Meanwhile, Persia starting to push south, going into Lithuania. We've got another potential conflict clash between the Serbians and the Persians. Though who's this? Condottieri. Livonia. Serbian Livonian Condottieri fighting on the side of the Russians. I would have thought if they wanted to weaken anyone, it would be their immediate neighbor.
Then again, they did say that they had no designs on Russian lands. So
yeah, but there's a difference between no designs and actively helping them.
this could be part of their alliance.
Possibly.
A lot of diplomacy going on.
60,000 Serbians against 47,000 Persians. It does look like the Persians are suffering quite heavily. The morale is ticking down at roughly the same level. This is a -2 for the Serbians. But I'm not sure about the Persian morale.
They have got a better general, the Serbians. Oh,
Yeah, and Persia lost. Morale, unfortunately, lost out. Serbia's morale, they seem to have dug deep and found some inner strength, which has allowed them to fight just that much longer.
Persia split their forces, and I think it cost them dearly.
They did, but they're also holding up 80,000 Russians up there in the north. So this was just Serbia and Livonia. I mean, this might well have been the addition of the Livonians, just like, yeah, fun times. I mean, Persia versus Livonia, I would say those two are relatively evenly matched. It's just going to be the morale that's the big difference. And that is a very, very scary-looking Livonia.
Livonia also has 100 years of not being able to go to war with anyone. That was a deal that they made, I believe. So
Only with Russia, I think.
Oh, only with Russia? Okay. Because I believe that they have been probably banking mana, manpower, money.
Yep, they are 64,000 manpower to the maximum 68. They have a significant amount of surplus money. They do still have loans outstanding, which they could pay two off. Offer those off. I wonder if those are Berkha loans. They probably are. No, Catholic.
Everyone is Catholic with the exception of Westphalia.
Indeed, Westphalia is the only one. And then, of course, we do have a couple of Sunni nations and a Zoroastrian. And then also a couple of Orthodox. Romania, Serbia, and Russia all being Orthodox, I believe. And also, I did notice Britain has just taken northern France off of France. They were, when I saw it, actively fighting against them, but they have just pieced that one out. And England has taken that northern trade node. the English Channel is now entirely theirs. And they are going to be raking in quite a lot of money. 100% trade power, 59 ducats being brought in, and Britain is currently converting that into 95 ducats of trade, giving them a surplus of 107.
Sus has finally completed forming Texas, so there is a Texas and a United States.
Meanwhile, sorry to interrupt, 80,000 angry Persians descending upon 64,000 combined Serbians and Livonians. It was actually the Livonians who were there first. The Serbians came in to support them. Serbia with a lot of cavalry. Their flanks are entirely actually just cavalry, with Livonia being the center infantry mass. It does kind of look like Persia may not have consolidated before starting this fight. A lot of regiments coming in wounded already, but it looks... yeah. Persia's going to lose that one, and they are forced once again to withdraw. Russia arriving just a few seconds too late.
Lots of bad rolls there for Persia. Oof.
And just because we haven't looked for a while, the New World, United States of America, is slowly but surely taking over more and more of the South. And Texas has appeared. The lovely state of Texas. Get it? Texas.
Texas. Oh, it took me a minute.
Yeah, I saw you, like the confusion in your face.
Uh,
I got there eventually, though.
Scotland.
Ah, dear.
Seeing Persia retreat.
Scotland are everywhere. Scotland are everywhere. Yep, they're in Mexico as well. Oh, they nabbed all of the gold before Texas got there.
That's going to be a bit of a war, but what are they going to do now that they've seen Tunis kind of turn their back on Andalusia? That was Sus's best ally.
It was, but I think Sus is now too far away to really care about Tunis. I think the Sus is going to be a lot more interested in Gotland, the United States, and their own capabilities over there in Texas. They're probably just in uber expansion mode to try and gobble up as much land as they can before the wars of consolidation start to take place. Meanwhile, Persia does seem to be withdrawing themselves a little bit. Serbia's forces have turned around entirely and begun to converge once again on Poland, putting in the death knells possibly for Team Tinto, while Russia is just working on retaking their lands or bigging up the peasants that are now taking their stuff too. Persia not without their own rebel problems, however.
Persia picking up little stacks here and there, but they do not seem to be wanting to take on any battles. I think they're just going for sieging.
At the moment, yeah, although it should be noted that Livonia's forces have gone back to Livonia and just kind of chilling in their own lands, though that is probably because of reinforcement. You do reinforce fastest in your own land, fast in occupied friendly lands, and then very slowly in hostile lands. So if you do have a stack that's suffered significant damage, withdraw them to preferably your own territory, and they will replenish a lot more quickly. There are penalties if they don't. Taking a look at India, because we haven't really looked in this area for some time. Nepal, Mewar, Orissa, definitely securing their lands. Punjab up there as well. The amount of land in India available for conquest is starting to get a bit short. There's a little buffer I'm noticing now that lies between Orissa and Mewar.
Yeah, the Delhi Bamanas VJ stripe.
And it really is a stripe. Like if you go into player map mode, it's just this grey line in front of them. Meanwhile, Nepal digging into what was once Ming.
Diviet also expanding north up the coast.
Mm-hmm. Yep, taking out some of the nice Guangxi territories there in the south. Meanwhile, the relocated North Germans, Japan, has secured most of the island at this point. I would say they are probably doing the best in terms of consolidating. Manchu not doing too badly either, taking out some of the very, very populous northern Chinese regions around Beijing, and then Korea.
Korea is very trapped at this moment. If Manchu is going to just completely lock their expansion and their borders, there's going to have to be some conflict there unless there's some sort of diplomacy that we don't know about.
Indeed, but Korea often does find themselves locked off because Manchu does tend to take that northern area, and Korea is an Asian power that is very capable of building tall. So we'll see how they do, but I agree they are definitely suffering a little bit from locked-in syndrome. Meanwhile, Brunei gobbling up more and more of the territories in The Indies starting to spread into the Philippines as well. Malacca taking over Sumatra, I want to say is that one. Java's that one. Am I right? Java. Yes, I was!
Yeah!
can never
It's like you're a
remember
map gamer.
No, I remember Sumatra because they're slanted. Slanted Sumatra.
Ah.
And then Java's the other one.
I remember Java because coffee.
Yeah, but I guess it's like a coffee lid. Also, coffee's disgusting.
Listen. Curious to see what Persia is doing right now. They do not seem...
Curious about New Zealand. Doesn't look like the imperial household has moved just
Nope.
yet.
Aachen is still rich.
Did anyone actually go and inform His Imperial Majesty? Alright, good stuff.
Oh, Scotland in a war right now against, let's guess, Texas.
Yeah, Texas.
We have, I believe, our first real New World War.
Yes, this is indeed a new world war. So yeah, in fact, it's Gotland, who've got colonies freaking everywhere. So this probably is a world war with them involved. But they are starting to move into Mexico. Clearly, the luster of that gold's just too strong for them to resist, and they have immediately pieced out. Texas basically going, all right, pirates, gold's yours.
Yep.
Leave us alone.
Yep. We'd like to go fight the natives. We
Yep.
don't want any issues there, all right?
We'll just see you next time in California, where there'll be even more gold. Meanwhile, Persia.
Persia is retreating back to their territory. I think that they definitely don't want to be in this war anymore. It looks like Poland may be a lost cause. They are absolutely occupied and have a rebel situation. Persia probably wants to go home and focus on themselves.
Focus on recovering just in case Russia comes back. Poland, indeed, down to just one fort that is unoccupied, plus a few miscellaneous territories outside of that. Might even just check to see the rebel situation in case they're in the verge. Yo, gee. Oh dear. Oh dear.
No.
They're about to be broken.
Ooh. Oh no.
The war has been going on for so long and they just haven't built any new soldiers that the rebels are just causing problems. Silly has grown. They have actually taken out the majority of Austria now, including the bits down in Istria. There is only
One Austrian province
Wienerwald left. And did they take the gold mine? Who owns the gold mine? No, the gold mine is currently owned by Swabia.
Guess who Tunis is fighting?
Who's Tunis fighting?
Still the Mamluks.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know what to expect with this Poland war, but I can tell you right now, Persia looks to be done with it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Persia is quite happy to just retreat to their mountain forts and be just like, we done? We just white peace?
Yep.
I'm done. You got some fun. We had some practice.
Army tradition, thanks.
Good game all around. Let's move on to the next one.
Wow.
So how do you think things will unroll now in Europe? Now, the borders definitely seem to be solidifying a bit more. I think Provence has a bit more work to do to take France. Where do you think the next conflict will be?
I think it's going to be another Kingdom of God Iberian conflict. I don't know how long that truce is. We can go check that out.
Truce is until 62, so they got another 11 years.
Yeah, I also am not sure what's going to go on with Livonia. They currently, if Poland falls, then that's a lot of free land for people to gobble up. Like, Silly can hop on that. Curious to see what Westphalia does. They might expand further east into Bohemia. But for the most part, we're all touching borders at this point.
Yep, Westphalia completely isolated, no allies.
Ooh. I would like to know who is going to get Aachen. Aachen is
in a coalition against Westphalia. It sounds like the Emperor's a little bit ticked off with them.
Oh yeah, 74 dev though.
Yeah.
I mean that is a that is a province to nab.
Then Poland currently allied with nobody. Silly allied with Romania and the Kingdom of God. Westphalia we already saw. Swabia allied to the Kingdom of God. Then we've got Provence allied with Livonia and Great Britain. We've got Great Britain allied with Livonia and Provence. Andalusia allied with Tunis. For some reason, Serbia allied with the Kingdom of God and Russia. That is a and Silly. That is a and Romania. That is a powerful group. Keep adding new nations to it. Romania. Oh, that was Romania. Sorry. Serbia is allied to Livonia and Tunis. Interesting. That sounds like that might be an anti-Kingdom of God coalition starting.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Maybe that was why they didn't want to even expend the troops with the Andalusia conflict.
And Persia just pieced out.
Oh. All right.
Was anything lost? I don't think so. I think that was literally just a white piece.
Yeah.
Maybe. No, Russia forced to take. Russia paid 1,300 ducats, 1,600 even, which is definitely going to help in paying off Persia's loans. They don't have any loans, so Persia actually is like, you know what, bank.
We'll just get more men. No big deal. And Poland still not piecing out. They are about to break to rebels, so
Yeah.
could be the.
That's
end
definitely a bit of a
that.
ticking time bomb. And that is still the only player war still ongoing.
So at this point, Great Britain has actually expanded into the Lubeck trade node. They are allied to Livonia, so I don't foresee them trying to get into that further. If they take Lubeck, that is so much money for them, and I believe that they are the biggest moneymaker.
Let's go and take a very quick look at that. Go into players.
Yes, they are.
Economic total, Great Britain, 220. They are significantly ahead of the Kingdom of God, who used to be the front runner in terms of finance. Second with 171. Then there's Persia with 147. That might include the money.
Oh.
That was a war. Silly.
Oh,
Silly's doing something now that everybody else is finished. Silly's like,
I'm going to go in on Poland.
oh, there was a war. Right.
Yes.
We should probably get up and do something about this.
There we go.
Gotland, fourth wealthiest. Westphalia, fifth. Westphalia is really rich. They just don't have any allies. They've got to try to find an ally somewhere.
Gonna be hard for them being the only Protestant European.
Yeah. Maybe Britain, but Britain's going to be stretched pretty thin with Livonia and France. Livonia and Provence. Like, actually, you know what? Britain, Livonia, Westphalia, Provence. That would be kind of a dangerous combo. And that would also mean that Great Britain's holdings are completely shielded.
Yeah, and right now, Kingdom of God being allied to Swabia, that is Swabia's only ally. So if Westphalia does want to go south again, they're going to need another ally.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there's going to be some north-south conflict at some point. And the loser of that conflict is going to be Provence, because they're allied to both sides. Provence is finally going to have to make the decision, who am I supporting? Am I north or am I south? I don't really know which they'll choose. I would say probably north.
I would say so as well.
Anyway, we are in a bit of a lull at the moment, so production, did we have any videos and things that you wanted to roll, or do you want to save that for a break? Okay. Okay,
Okay.
cool, we can do that. So what do you think we'll see tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I think we're going to see a lot of Russian eastward expansion. Curious to see what goes on with Chagatai, the hordes. I think India is going to get to the point where there is no AI left. Like I said, they did tell me that they have partitioned India themselves prior, so I don't think that they're going to fight each other. I'm not sure where they're going to go from there.
I disagree with that. I think that Punjab is probably going to be divided between Mewar and Nepal. And then Mewar, I think my money is on them coming out ahead. Because Mewar is a really strong military power. Orissa has not impressed me so far with their expansion and growth. And Nepal's very busy with China. I don't think they really care about India anymore.
Persia, I think we're going to see. Right now, they are sandwiched between Serbia and India, so they can either push west, push east, or push north. Do we still have a Hassa player? We do. But they're allied to Persia, so who knows?
Yeah, I don't think Persia's going to go south. I think actually maybe into Punjab. Maybe into Mewar, so that would be a bit of a harder fight. But the territory that Mewar has is very, very lucrative. And then if they take out Mewar, then they can push into northern Orissa, and that's the Jaunpur region, which is like one of the richest in the game. It's fantastically wealthy.
I'm curious to see what happens when the Emperor does move to New Zealand and how that is going to shift some of the power balance.
Indeed, I do worry a little bit, although I probably shouldn't, with his perfect intelligence and ability to come through any conflict or crisis. Not that there are any crisis in the Imperial realms, of course, but with the Imperial throne being so far away from his subjects, is the Imperial power really going to be able to exert enough pressure on the minions to not misbehave?
I would also like to see what goes on with Africa. Borders are starting to draw to a close. Tunis owning most of North and West Africa. Zimbabwe is creeping up. There is some Somalian-Zimbabwean border conflicts happening now.
I do kind of wonder if we're going to see Zimbabwe and Somalia ganging up against Tunis with Andalusian help.
What do you think is going to go down in the New World? Because that Tunis, Scotland, United States situation.
I think gold prices are going to go down in the New World. No, I think that the United States is doing a really good job consolidating the eastern seaboard, and if they manage to grab the whole thing, then they are basically uncontested to just roll westwards and indulge in the spot of manifest destiny. Texas, I'm sorry to say, I think that they're in a bad spot right now, because Gotland has already proven that they're willing to go to war with them if they see some tasty morsels that they're after, and Gotland has an iron grip on the Caribbean, like they can't really be hit back against, even though their army is probably kind of garbage. They can exert enough economic pressure that Texas can't resist. So I kind of see Gotland and the United States probably splitting North America between them. What happens in South America, I don't know. I'm almost tempted to say that Texas would actually be best off going into South America now. Now that they formed Texas, screw it, move south. Oh, Jerusalem is colonizing South America.
I told you that Jerusalem was colonizing, and you said no. I spoke to Jerusalem. That's...
Okay, I didn't think they had the range for it. I didn't think they had the range. Did they buy something to get it?
I have what you might call espionage ideas or diplomatic ideas, but either way, I knew that they were trying. They were going for it.
Have you tried this before?
Pepsi Max?
Yeah, just Memento Mori, just does that.
Nope.
Worth a try. Anyway, I think that is probably it for us. So do you want to bring us to a close, and we'll hand over to the next group?
Yes, excellent. Well, thank you, chat, for hanging out and listening to some of the dev interviews. We've had some player interviews, and we are going to be back tomorrow, Mordred and I believe.